Welcome to Small Business Saturday.
Welcome to Small Business Saturdays video series with your host and my husband.
And my dad, Aaron Montgomery.
Join the conversation.
Let's talk some business.
Hello, everybody. Good Saturday afternoon to you. Hopefully, everybody's having a great Saturday afternoon. Welcome to Small Business Saturdays. I'm your host, Aaron Montgomery. So let's get into some stuff here today, guys. What do you say? So I'm not sure what happened. I think I may have had a wrong time, but this link is coming to you late. So we'll see if we get some viewers to show up here. But I'm looking forward to our conversation today, and got lots of stuff going on in front of me here. So anyhow, excited to talk to you. So today we're going to talk about public speaking. And hey, Cheryl, how are you? Thanks for joining me this afternoon. So today we're going to talk about public speaking. This came from somebody, and I searched and searched and searched, and I could not find exactly who it was. So I apologize. I didn't write it down, but somebody had said, hey, love some tips on public speaking. And like I said, I just couldn't find when and where that was. I know it was a few weeks back. Somebody had mentioned it. So if this is your topic, let me know. All right. Let me know who I should be thanking for this. I feel really bad that I didn't write that down at the time. So public speaking is what we're going to talk about today. So what I'm going to bring to the table here for you is I'm going to talk about why public speaking is so hard, why we struggle with it, well, we'll talk about the fears in just a little bit here. So that's one. The second thing I want to bring to you today are tips. I want to bring you 5 tips that I've used over the span of trying to get more comfortable with public speaking myself. I do a podcast once a week with my friend Terry Combs over at Two Regular Guys. I do this once a week. I teach seminars. I've done other things. And, so you'd think, oh, yeah, he's totally comfortable with public speaking. Completely not true. I am nervous as all get out every time. I have butterflies, the whole nine. So it is a fear that has to be overcome. So I'm going to give you 5 tips that I've used that help me get there. Some of them are pretty simple, basic stuff, but I hope that brings something for you to the table here. So that's my part. Those are the 2 things I'm going to present to you today. Your part, you got to bring it. You got to bring the comments. You got to bring your suggestions. You got to bring your stories. You got to tell the rest of the listeners what it is that you do to overcome your fears of public speaking, or just overcome things that you don't want to do in general. And I'm hoping to follow it up with a very special guest at the end, somebody I'm very excited to share with you guys. So she is, I might be giving it away. I'm going to shut my mouth right now before I give it away. Special guest at the end to see how I did here today. All right. So you guys ready? You want to get dove into this on this lovely, it's a little rainy here Saturday afternoon in St. Louis, but should be a good one. So that's your part. Comments, bring it. Tell me what you think. I want your feedback. How do you guys overcome public speaking fears, or fears in general? What are the tools and tricks that you use? And I will bring my part. So I figured the best place to start this whole journey here was going to be talking about what are America's most commonly referenced fears, not what we're most afraid of, but most commonly referenced fears. So I got the top 5 list here in front of me, and I'm going to work my way back from number 5. So number 5, and this is a big one for me, blood and needles. And I won't even try to trypanophobia. I said I wasn't going to try, but I did anyhow. Trypanophobia, I believe, is what it's called. So it's a fear of blood and needles. That's the 5th most referenced fear for Americans. Number 4 is drowning, aquaphobia. Number 3, bugs and insects. And no chance I'm getting that one. The fear of heights is number 2. And the most commonly referenced fear that Americans have is public speaking. It's called glossophobia. So how does that relate to your top 5 list? Again, not what we're most afraid of, but what's most commonly referenced. So they say that 3 out of 4 people have some form of glossophobia. I've put myself in that category. I have a mild fear of public speaking. But here's why I decided I had to overcome that fear. there's a few things that kind of really stand out to me, that why it's really important that we learn how to do this, and then why we make this something that we practice and we get better at, and we make it part of our everyday lives. Public speaking basically is you speaking in a forum where other people might judge what you're saying. So that could be anywhere. That could be at a cocktail party. That could be at your church. That could be at a local community meeting. That could be at your kid's school, at your school, if you're still going to school, those kinds of things. But public speaking is all about sharing an idea which is valuable to others. Absolutely. Every time we share an idea, that brings value to other people. So our sharing of ideas can start a chain reaction of change. It may not be that what I say here today is going to be this magic light bulb that'll set people off on this great journey of change and perfection. But you know what? My little nugget can, with somebody else's little nugget, with somebody else's little nugget, all can come together to create some change. So share your idea, valuable to others. So that's one reason why I think it's important to overcome our fear of public speaking. Then when we talk about our businesses, in today's world, the number one viewed and way that people get additional leads, knowledge about other things is through video. It's through doing things like this, live video, or just video content and things like that. So you need to share your brand, your business, your story, you with other people. That is going to help you gain new customers. It's the easiest way to gain new customers, because you're sharing yourself with others. If they connect with you, they're going to figure out a way to do business with you. And then the third way that you can overcome these fears is making new connections. The third way that is important to overcome these fears, wow, I just blew that one. See, you can fail in this and still do just fine, is make new connections and realize that you are a great communicator. I think that's a big part of where this fear comes from, is we fear that A, we are not enough of a subject matter expert. B, we feel like we're going to be judged by others. And so we take the easy route and we just kind of go, I'm not going to do that public speaking thing or one of those other things. So as humans, that's what sets us apart. That's what sets us apart from all the other animals in the whole world, is the fact that we are communicators. That's how we can come together and cheer for the same sports team. That's how we can come together and overcome great odds, because we are able to communicate with each other in a way that helps inspire us to do more. So those are to me, 3 important reasons why you have to overcome this fear. All right. So like I said, you guys need to make sure that you're bringing your part of this whole thing. What are the things that you do to overcome your fears? Alan, hello. Appreciate you checking in today. Great to see you. Hopefully you're having a great Saturday and doing well there. And Cheryl said, wow, I hope that's a positive wow. Knowing Cheryl, it's a positive wow. She's such an awesome person. So great stuff there. Again, whatever comments you guys have, I want them. I'm going to share them. We're going to talk about them. That's what Small Business Saturdays is all about. It's about sharing and communicating and bringing all of our ideas to the forefront, not just this goofy guy right here. All right. All right. You ready? Here's the number one thing that I found that is best to do is to speak one-on-one. You want to have a single conversation with one person at a time. So if I'm doing a seminar and I'm standing in that seminar room with however many, 40, 50, 100 people in that room, I'm basically having a conversation with one person at a time. Yes, I want to try to have a conversation with each of them, but in my brain, I'm having just a one-on-one conversation with that person that I'm looking at, and then I'm changing to look at the next person, have a conversation with them, and I'm sharing that information with them and making that a comfortable experience. Doing something like this with the video, I'm having a one-on-one conversation with this camera that's right here in front of my face. I realize that on the other side of the line, I know who's there, Cheryl, Alan, my special guest waiting in the background here. I'm having those conversations with people. So that's number one. Make it a one-on-one conversation. Thank you, Cheryl. Says great tip. Appreciate that. Pop that up there. I love the comments, guys. Thank you so much. All right, number 2. And this is a big one for me because I do really poorly at this many times, especially the more nervous I get. Slow down. every time we're in a public speaking event, just in general, we probably speak too fast because we want to get the information out. It's in the brain. Our brain goes faster than our mouth sometimes. And that's where we get ourselves tripped up and we feel like we've stumbled. So if you can consciously slow yourself down, especially in public speaking environments, that will help a ton. It'll give your body a chance to calm down, relax, and move forward. So you guys can just remind me of this every week. Slow down, Aaron, slow down. All right. So that's number 2. Number 3, have a structure. If you're giving a bigger presentation, maybe it is a seminar or maybe it's, something, I like to give 3 benchmarks that you're going to hit along the way. And that gives your audience the opportunity to kind of follow along, stay engaged, go, okay, I need to look for this point along the way, and then make sure that you hit those benchmarks. So when I started today, I told you what I was bringing. I'm bringing you the why public speaking is so hard, and then the 5 tips to do it anyways. All right. So set those benchmarks, even if it's just a quick conversation, your elevator pitch, start it off with a benchmark. I'm going to tell you about my company. I'm going to tell you about why I did this or something along the way so people can follow along. And then it helps you stay on track, even if you don't have notes in front of you like I do over here. All right. So have those benchmarks, remember, and follow them. All right. We're ready for number 4. Number 4, act as if you have crushed it. Here is a quote that I love. It's from Henry Ford, the car Henry Ford guy. Yes, the car guy. Alan, you should, you're in Detroit, this Henry Ford guy here. He says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Okay, so let that sink in for just a second. So if I show up to my seminar, if I show up to this Small Business Saturday thing, if I show up to the Two Regular Guys podcast and I'm going, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. I'm not going to do very well. I'm going to stutter. I don't know what I'm talking about. These people are going to laugh me off the stage or laugh me out of the room. Guess what? That's what's going to happen. But if I show up and I say, you know what, this is going to be awesome. See, I set up a little bit. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to crush it. Alan says, I've heard of him. Yep, he's kind of a big deal, right? It's talking about Henry Ford. But when we act as though we're going to crush it, then we are going to crush it. That is what's so cool about human nature, is that you just show up with the right attitude. It's going to be fine. Everything will be just fine. You show up with the right attitude. We know we're going to do it. And you know what? You may beat yourself up afterwards if on little things. I do that all the time. But you know what? You probably are the only person that noticed that. You're probably your own worst critic. Therefore, just go in. You know that you're gonna hit a home run every time. That's what baseball players do. They go up to the plate thinking they're going to hit a home run every time, but yet they strike out more often than they get on base. Think about the percentages there. But yet they still do it all the time, making millions of dollars to do that. All right. So do the same thing with public speaking. Just get out there, face it. You're going to do awesome. I know you are, and be done with it. All right. So again, whatever tips you guys have, I want to hear them. Alan, you're a speaker, so you got to have some good points that you can bring to the table here. Number 5, prepare. The best speakers know their material inside and out. They know it so well that it seems that to the audience that it's almost off the cuff. It's unrehearsed. So think about a comedian. A comedian comedians are typically the master of this. Many times the comedians have tested jokes over and over in front of people, tweaked it, wrote it out hundreds of times. It's taken years to develop this one joke for one little part of their presentation, their comedy act. And then that joke becomes something that the audience just feels like it's natural. It's coming right off the cuff. And that's actually a skill, to do something that's so rehearsed that it feels natural to the audience is very important. Every time I've given a seminar or a presentation, the better I know that material, the more times I've been through it, the better it goes. All right. Alan has a great one, and he jumped ahead because like minds, great minds think alike, right, Alan? Know your material, don't blow smoke. Absolutely. So know your material. And you know what? There may be a question that comes up. There may be something that happens to you during that opportunity where somebody has something that you just don't know. Well, you know what? You're still able to be the subject matter expert and go, you know what? I don't know that, but let me find out that for you. Let's connect afterwards and get that information. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're presenting what you know. Sometimes people have questions that are going to get you off of your pace, so to speak. So prepare. So here's another thing that just when I talk about being prepared. So Terry and I are actually going to be celebrating this next Friday our 300th episode of Two Regular Guys, and that 300th episode did not. You know, we always tell people, do not go and listen to the first 6 months, maybe first year. There may be some good information in there, but they were terrible. I'm not sure, you know, and they've gotten better and better as we go on. But one of the things that we started to do very early on that changed things dramatically for us is we have a show outline. Okay. So that way everybody's prepared, ready, everything feels comfortable, and we go from there. It doesn't have to be a completely written out script, but we need some preparedness so we know how to get from point A to point B and get the information across that we want. So Eric says teaching is the best way to learn. Awesome. Good stuff. Eric, perfect. All right. So what other tips do you guys have out there? Anything good that you want to share with me before I bring in my special guest? And oh, here we go. Here's a great one, Alan. I always practice, set the timer verbally, speak the presentation a few times alone to get comfortable. Absolutely. On plane trips or things like that, I'm always kind of reading through it, going over it in my head, set that timer, know where you need to be. A lot of times the notes that I have actually have a timer on that page saying, okay, you should be at 324 right now, around there. So I know got to pick up the pace, slow it down, whatever the case may be. So practice. Good stuff. Okay, guys, keep those comments coming, but I am going to bring in my very special guest here. I want to see how I did, see if I was able to talk some people into getting over their fear of public speaking. And here is my favorite person in the whole wide world. One moment as I bring her in. Hello, lovely wife. This is my wife, Kylene Montgomery. Kylene, how are you this afternoon?
Oh, I'm good. A little nervous about this, but I'm good.
Nervous? All right. Well, if I did a good job, then you're going to be ready for this. So,
okay.
Kylene,
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Kylene has very verbally told me that she does not like public speaking. Is that correct? Is that a true statement? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
But she is fantastic, wonderful person, great information, great person to talk to. Probably one of the most social people I know when it's a one-on-one conversation. So, Kylene, tell us about what you are doing with our new business, weheart.biz. Tell us about that, and that'll be your public speaking for today.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Well, I guess it's been 2.5 weeks. I left my career as a counselor.
Yeah.
I was working at the VA with veterans, and I loved my job. But where I had to do it was very challenging, lots of limitations. And Aaron and I have been talking about doing something like this for a long time. So now we have an e-commerce company, and we are selling personalized gifts. And our hope is to sell them to other small businesses to help them market themselves so they can kind of stand out. That's our goal. So this is very new to me, but I have a great coach and partner. So here we go.
Yeah. So she's been doing great. So Kylene's experience too, outside of the counseling, she's also been involved in Rodan and Fields. And, you know, early on, she kind of struggled to set herself apart from the crowd. So that's kind of where this topic, this niche, I guess, came from. Kylene, is that correct?
Yeah, because, for example, you know, I'm a consultant with Rodan and Fields, and we're all given the same marketing material, and and there's a lot of us, so it's really hard to stand out. So if you can add a little gift to your team as an incentive, or you can give your customers this little gift as a thank you, they're probably more likely to come back and buy from you again versus going to someone else.
Nice. Very awesome. Okay. Well, Kylene, thank you so much for sharing with us about We Heart Biz. And thank you for getting over your fear and doing some public speaking. You were awesome. Virtual high five, sweetie. All right. All right, Kylene, you get back to, is our son running around there crazy somewhere?
I'm sure. I have no idea. We'll find out.
All right. All right. Love you, sweetie. We'll talk to you later.
Love you too.
All right. Cool. Well, there it is. There she is. She did it. I am super proud of her. Great stuff. And yeah, we're having a lot of fun, and it's great to be able to do that with her. So I want to go back to some of the tips that you guys have put in here. Good stuff here from Alan. If you video yourself, you can see and hear what others see and hear. That is a fantastic idea, Alan. I love that idea. And then you can also find, this is a interesting one, the words and pauses like ahs and ums and ahs. So one thing that as Terry and I got deeper into this whole podcasting thing, I finally started hanging out with some people that are, that's what they do, is they're podcast people. That's what they make their living around. They didn't have a niche. They actually were doing entertainment podcasting, and people that have been doing it for a long time. And a lot of their podcasts were very edited. And, the Two Regular Guys has always been a live show, so that kept me from having to edit it, basically. But what I noticed is the episodes that we did have edited were very interesting, because when we first started doing it, they would take out the ums and the ahs, and they would actually send me a copy of the ums and ah reels. And we had a couple of episodes that were like an hour long, and we had about 10 minutes of ums and ahs that they cut out. So, so think about those things. And I think what happens there is that's where your brain gets ahead of your mouth. And that's your safe word. You kind of stopped yourself, and you go, and you're trying to let your mouth catch up to your brain, and it makes it very interesting. So the more you slow down, you can get rid of some of those ums and ahs. And I think that's a good point that Alan makes there. So, all right, guys, what else do you have? Or are we good for the day? Hopefully that encourages you guys to get out there and do some public speaking. I know most of the viewers here are doing that already, so congrats on you, and good job. And hopefully those of you that check this out after the fact will also be able to do something that you didn't think that you could ever do, which is, make a video, speak in public, do those things. All right. One more thing. There's the perfect. I want to pop this up here real quick. The podcasts for this particular show are coming out every week. So we started off with the business plan stuff that I did back last July, and those are being pumped out there, and we've got some new episodes coming every Saturday. So if you go to smallbusinesssaturdayspodcast.com, that'll take you to the podcast matrix. That's one of the gentlemen that I've been getting to know through the whole podcast world, and he is a podcast expert. So he's helped me make this particular Small Business Saturdays program into a podcast. So if you want to check out the audio versions later on, then there you go, Small Business Saturdays podcast. Next week, we will be at DAX Chicago. Lots of fun stuff going on there at DAX Chicago. I'll be presenting a couple of seminars. We'll be walking around the show floor from 4 to 5. So if you head over to facebook.com/2regularguys, you'll be able to check that out, 4 to 5 Central Time. Terry and I will be walking the show floor and bringing information. We've already got about 4 or 5 people that we're specifically going to stop in and see and share what they've got new and trending in the industry right now. So looking forward to talking to them. And then there's the party that DAX hosts, which is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to partake in that. They always put on a great event there. And then at 7 o'clock across the street at Buffalo Wild Wings, we are celebrating our 300th Two Regular Guys episode. So come on over to Buffalo Wild Wings. Nothing formal specifically, but just an opportunity to say thanks and hang out and partake in some beer and chicken wings. And we'll be looking forward to that 7 o'clock next Friday at Buffalo Wild Wings across the street from the Tinley Park Convention Center. So make sure you check that out. I will not have a Small Business Saturday specifically scheduled next week. We'll see what comes up. If you guys have anything that you want to talk about or you want to discuss next Saturday as I drive back, we'll give it a shot and see. So it's going to be a good time. Just email me, Aaron@montcoconsulting.com, and we'll see what we can come up with, a little impromptu show next Saturday. Okay, a couple more comments, though, before we get out of here. Here we go. Alan, perfect. We also don't realize these little things we say and do just naturally. Absolutely. So that's where his tip about recording yourself doing it and then actually going back and watching it, that's the hard part. The recording part's easy. It's the going back and watching it and sitting through it and cringing sometimes that can be difficult. So check that out. Once we start speaking, accept every criticism and review, learn from it all. Man, Alan, you should have been on this side of the camera. What the heck is going on over here? So yes, Alan, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see you out there. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your Saturday. And if there's any questions, again, just hit me up. Email is Aaron@Montco Consulting. All right, guys, have a great Saturday.